Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. The first two teams to make the Final Four are officially here. Florida Atlantic, the UCONN Huskies, and number 4 seed UCONN Huskies. We have half the Final Four set. Field of 68 after dark. We are presented by our partners at Bet River Sportsbook. We are presented by our partners at Underdog Fantasy. 100% deposit match up to $100 with code FIELD at UnderdogFantasy.com. Rob Dauster, Terrence Oglesby, Jeff Goodman. We are live in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, where we just watched UConn cut down the nets after smacking around a very good Gonzaga team by 28 points. But believe it or not, that is not the biggest story of the day. That is not the biggest story heading into the Final Four, because that is going to be Dusty May. That is going to be the number 9 seed Florida Atlantic Owls TO. They knocked off Kansas State. They knocked off Marquise Noel. They won 79-76 in Madison Square Garden. Florida Atlantic went into the Garden and knocked off Kansas State to advance to the Final Four. How about that?
By committee. You remember before the tournament started, everybody was wondering, like, please, guys, don't give this team an 8-9 game. Yeah. Please, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Doesn't matter. They do it. They're everybody's talking about collectives now. I'm just going to call that team the Florida Atlantic Collective, because it's so well balanced in how they attack you. Golden on the inside was very good today. He was very good. And I think one thing you can take away from this team is you have a bunch of guys that are unselfish, 1. 2, I think your big man needs to be your 3rd or 4th option on a championship team, if that makes sense, because that's what he is. He's spectacular in my mind. He plays his role well. He's huge. Another thing, he's not just big for that league. He's big, period. And just the by-committee approach is the thing that's most fun about this team.
Mm-hmm. You know, they couldn't let, we talked about it, obviously, Noel and Keontae Johnson both go off.
Right.
They didn't. Noel went off. He had 30. Keontae Johnson had 9 points, and he fouled out fairly early in the second half. So I think that was the key. That was something that other teams have been unable to do so far in the NCAA tournament. But again, like you said, like collectively, that's what this team does, right? Defensively, they're very good, and offensively, they're balanced for the most part. They're balanced. They're not relying on 1 or 2 guys, and Kansas State was. And I think ultimately, the other thing is they don't get rattled. They do not get rattled. They've been down before in this tournament, and they come back today, right? They're down. We think they're kind of, going to lose late in that second half, and all of a sudden they go on, what was it, a 15-1 run?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
To solidly
they were
take
down
the lead.
57-50, and they went on a 15-1 run over the course of 5 minutes to more or less put that game away and put that game to bed. I know that Kansas State made a little bit of a run at the end. But what makes this team so dangerous to me, T.O., is that with a team like Kansas State, you have to have both your dudes go off. You have to have them both go off. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to beat good teams. We saw that tonight. With Florida Atlantic, you never really know where it's going to come from. Right? How difficult does that make them to prepare for?
Incredibly difficult, especially when it comes down to the last 2 minutes. I always like to think you need to have a pecking order in the last minute and a half. I'm not really sure this team has that. But at the same time, like we talked about their collective production, and that's kind of what we were emphasizing there. But I think their collective toughness, too. They played 9 guys. Almost every one of them had 2 rebounds or more. Like, it's not just scoring points. It's not just passing the ball. It's a bunch of similarly skilled guys that can make things happen for somebody else. And whenever that collective toughness is there to the point at which was today, too. I mean, Marquise Noel, like, what a tournament.
Killer, man.
He's a killer. He's a killer. And they were still able to hold him down just as much by throwing different bombs at him.
Enough, right?
Well, yeah, that's right. But
They didn't hold him down at all.
Right. Well,
all they did was
what
on
was
the
he
last
from the field?
He was 10 of 21.
Yeah.
Well, he had 30 points. He had 30 points and 12 assists.
No,
they didn't hold him down.
8 of 21.
What they did was on that final possession was they got the ball out of his hands, and that was the first time.
I can't believe he gave it up.
That was like the first time in the second half.
And then he drove in before that and tried kind of it was. Again, that's the hard part. Right?
I wonder if they were going to. Yeah, I wonder if they were going to try to let him get rid of it and then catch a flare screen on the backside. That was the only reason I could have seen him giving that ball.
Because Masood was getting ready to fire that thing.
He was getting ready to fire it from where the coach's box was.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was tough. Tough last play.
So here's
I don't
my
take
question.
the ball out of Noel's hands.
No,
here's my question for you guys. Where does this sit in terms of all-time greatest Final Four Cinderellas because you have VCU, I get it.
Yeah.
You have George Mason.
That was a great run.
But those are two good programs. Those are two pretty good programs that are well resourced, right? I mean, VCU's got great resources.
Sure.
George Mason's got pretty good resources. This program does not have resources. Maybe other than, I think it's like UTSA and Florida International. They're the worst in the league in terms of budget and resources.
Really?
Their arena needs major upgrades. Major upgrades. I was just in it a couple months ago, and they're going to do it now.
There's some money coming in now. I
Now they'll be
guarantee you.
okay. There'll be some money for upgrades. There'll be some money for Dusty May and his.
There better be some money for NIL too, because we're going to talk about that in a second. But
Where does it sit? Like to
me, the greatest Cinderella run of all time is, this is going to sound a little crazy, but it's Villanova in 1985, because Villanova actually won the title.
Right.
And then once you get beyond, then once you
They had to beat Georgetown.
Yeah, true story. I was born during that game when Villanova beat Georgetown. How about that? My dad got in a lot of trouble for running out of the delivery room to go watch the game too many times.
Yeah.
I think I was built for college basketball.
That's right. That's right.
To me, that's the greatest Cinderella run of all time. But once you get beyond that, like, I think VCU going first four to Final Four, because you got to win 5 games instead of just 4, is one that really stands out to me.
It's just this one's different, is all I'm
different.
saying.
And-
It's
but here's-
almost a better coaching job because you know what Dusty May did? All season, he was the only one bid team that got an at-large, that was in position to get an at-large.
Right.
Right? That was it. Charleston fell off, right? FAU stayed there. And now what they're doing in the tournament, proving that that was not a fluke.
Yep.
Like the VCU thing, they barely got in, Rob.
They shouldn't have gotten in.
Correct.
When George Mason got in,
Yep.
they were the team that everyone was like, how did they get in?
That's what I'm saying.
They
FAU
didn't.
earned it.
Yes.
They did it in the regular season, and now they're doing it again. They're showing that, you know what, this thing isn't fluky at all.
And
at all.
what they're showing is that maybe we should put a little bit of respect on the name of these mid-majors that have great seasons. Just because you go out and you win 30 games against teams that aren't necessarily like, you know, the big high majors, right? And maybe you lose in your conference tournament. What this is proving is we gotta believe in those teams.
Yeah.
If you put together a season like they had, give them a bid.
What's also kind of interesting is we talk so much about the extra year of eligibility and how it's spread out the talent. This is still a young team that could all come back next year.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's-
and without knowing, for somebody without knowing the resources, Jeff, like you do, obviously, like whenever you bring that into the equation as well, just, I'm not going to say lack of support. I guess it would be lack of support.
It is lack of support.
So, like,
so far.
that changes some
I
things.
mean, Matt McCall, Field of 68, and we should have him on talking about this soon.
Yeah.
He was an assistant there 15 years ago for Mike Jarvis. He went in the building this year to call a game, and he said it was basically like going back in time. Nothing had changed in 15 years.
Yeah. So you mentioned the resources for NIL. You mentioned kids potentially having I think I got that backwards, but whatever.
That's fine, yeah.
Dusty May was asked in the post game about the transfer portal and about finding a way to keep this roster together. And this is what he said: they're getting recruited now. They've been recruited throughout this tournament, which is wild when you think about
It's disgusting.
Yes.
It's disgusting. And I thought about doing this, and I'd like to do this. If I get my hands on any of those text messages or who's doing it, I can't wait to put it out there nationally. Like, I will put it out there in 2 seconds because it is absolutely disgusting.
During the season.
While you're in an NCAA tournament run?
Exactly.
Give me a break. Like, that's bullshit.
It is.
That's it.
Well,
it
again,
is
yeah.
bullshit,
Like if it happens, to be honest, that coach should be exposed. Should be
Yeah.
exposed for what they're doing.
And should
it's
face
bad
sanctions.
enough. Yeah, it should. Right. Agreed. Like if you're still in your season, you better. Now again, they're getting around it. What Dusty's referring to is not that they're calling the kid directly.
Right.
Not that they're texting the kid directly. What they're doing is they're going to hit up their AU coach. They're going to hit up, if they have a mentor, a guy, whatever it is. They might even have, an NIL agent. I don't know what they got. But whatever it is, that's what they're doing. So to take themselves off the hook, the kid's not going to have a text message directly from another. If they do, man, that's about as dumb as.
Well,
as
how
you
many
can
kids
be.
are represented at FAU?
No, probably none.
See,
probably
that's the
none.
thing.
at
That's
this
like
point.
so
but
they
I'm
could
saying
be
they're
going
going
through
through.
an
No, they're going through
intermediary.
their AAU coach or their high school coach if they know them, or their mentor or whoever it is.
But none of those kids were really like EYBL kids or anything like that, were they?
I mean, they might have been on the bench.
Maybe.
Sure.
Yep. No, it's gross, man. It's gross. Just for that to be happening during the NCAA tournament is disgusting. And the fact that
Dusty's
you can,
such a good dude too. Like that's the other thing. You're going to do it to a guy like that. Looking at the program he's built,
I've heard of worse things happening when it comes to recruiting kids.
I know. It's amazing what Dusty's done. I first met Dusty when he was a GA at Indiana.
Manager,
for
right?
For Mike Davis. He was a manager, then a GA. And, he's got more shit to him than I thought. Mm-hmm. Even when we were just talking, we drove from practice, and he had a guy.
Is this going to be the magician story again?
No, I'm not going to go.
We can't have
I'm not
another
gonna go
magician
full.
story.
Mentalist,
It
not
was a
ventriloquist, not
right.
magician.
So we were
Mentalist.
driving about 20 minutes to this hotel for them to get a good lunch. They were all excited about it because they don't have many big boosters there, and now they're winning. Right, people are paying attention, and this guy who owns this big hotel in Boca invited them for lunch. You should have seen how excited they were for the big, like this good spread and everything like that. And then they got the mentalist after. But I was, talking to Dusty along the way, and I was just like, all right, like I think I forgot a little bit. He just looks like
Opie.
Yeah, he does, right?
Yeah.
He looks like that just kind of good old boy who's never going to do anything wrong. And again, he's got some shit to him. So I love this story.
All-American kid.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you guys this. So, generally speaking, in the NCAA tournament, you want to root for upsets early, and you want to root for blue bloods late. We now have a program in Florida Atlantic that is heading to the Final Four. Is that a good thing for the sport? Because you're able to get, you're able to say that anybody can win. You get these miracle runs. Everybody loves a Cinderella. The 2 of the 3 most watched basketball games, period, not just college basketball in 2022, were St. Peter's in the Sweet 16 and St. Peter's in the Elite 8. Everybody loves the Cinderella. But is it a good thing for the sport to have them playing on the biggest stage when look at last year's?
Have we ever seen it to where the TV ratings were awful because one particular team was in the? I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't think it'd be one though here. I think it's going to be the collection potentially, but we may get again. Listen, if you get Texas with now obviously with UConn and Creighton, you're not getting Kentucky, Kansas, Carolina, Duke. I get it, but I think you'll still have
San Diego State and
you could have San Diego State. I mean,
but it's Texas in Houston. There's going to be a lot of Texas fans in Houston. That would be something that would be good. You'd have some of them showing up. I don't know if Texas really matters in Texas, if Texas basketball still matters.
Let's put it this way. The ticket will not go for a ton of money this year at the Final Four. Right? I mean, because you're just not having one of those fan bases that's bringing, a ton of, hopefully, again, enough people bought tickets beforehand, but
are there enough people in the state of Connecticut to?
There's enough people. I don't know how many people are going to make it.
Oh, now the women are out. So,
yeah, the women are out. So
that might help a little bit.
Well, it would have been nice if they were to, because they were playing in Dallas.
That's right.
So,
So
you
they
would have
coulda
been
went
able to
to
go
both.
back and forth
That's
and
true.
back and
Point.
forth
That's
and
true.
back and forth, which would have been a pretty wild trip and a pretty wild 4 days. But listen, we need to talk about UConn because Dan Hurley said it in the interview we got with him. They are officially back. Goodman's going to have to tell you how good they are. And I'm going to sit here with the biggest smile on my face. Field of 68 after dark. Oh, you're not doing the underdog read? All right, go ahead. Today's episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play college basketball pick'em, where you can get a little extra sweat during March Madness and win real cash prizes simply by picking player stats in this weekend's games. In pick'em, all you do is predict whether a player will go higher or lower on Underdog's projected totals, whether that's points, rebounds, whatever. For example, if you're like me and you think Zach Edey is going to go nuts in this tournament, pick higher on his points projection, add up to 4 more picks, and if you hit them all, you can win 20 times your money on a single game. Underdog's slick mobile app is easy enough that dummies like Jeff Goodman have even figured it out. So go to underdogfantasy.com or download the app and use the code FIELD, FIELD, and Underdog will match your deposit up to $100. Now is the time to get in on the madness. So remember, underdogfantasy.com, promo code Shout out Underdog Fantasy, and we will. We're coming back here soon. 30 seconds from break. Do we have any questions in the chat, real quick?
I think we may have to take a little break from the chat questions after last night's.
No more chat questions?
Maybe we
down
if we get actual basketball.
we'll
questions,
take some more.
We will take
throw them in there. Throw them in there, chat.
We'll
Just
take
make them a
'em.
little cleaner than last night.
Or how about this? Maybe we need a better person giving the questions to us.
Better mediator.
A better
That's
mediator.
That's right.
A better
Listen.
mediator.
We may need Trevor to
We're back in 5.
check him.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark. Terrence Oglesby, Jeff Goodman, Rob Dauster. We are live T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas, where we just watched the number 4 seed UConn Huskies, the number 1 team on KenPom. As of this moment, absolutely mollywop a Gonzaga team.
Nobody is happier.
It's a good
And
word.
nobody is-
Mollywhopped them. I like that one.
That's a good word. I had to get that in there for you just so you would be able to. I
You have
needed a
kids.
smile on
you
your
have
face.
kids. I respect that. I
Yes,
respect that.
there you go. So 82-54. I don't know what I expected out of this game. I think you expected this.
Oh,
you,
yeah, I
you
think-
were all in on this.
all
right?
in. I was like, what avenue is there that Gonzaga can win this
There
game?
wasn't one.
And we saw our, not right away, because Gonzaga hung with them for the first 10 minutes. They did. They hung with them.
I mean, every game starts 0-0.
No, but it was like, 25-23 at one point?
Yeah, I just don't know what you do to
UConn wasn't making shots.
Yeah.
But, man, this was a absolute domination by UConn. Another one. I mean, this is the 4th straight that they've pretty much won this one easy. All right, so when you said UConn is back, can I read you a tweet from 2018?
Yes.
So my tweet was, and listen, when he got hired, there was no bigger proponent of hiring Dan Hurley than me. None, period. So my tweet on November 15th, 2018, which was, 4.5 years ago, wonder if the pro-Kevin Ollie fans and ex-UConn players still think it was the wrong move to get rid of KO and hire Dan Hurley. This was a no-brainer. Hurley's a grinder and a hell of a coach. Just wait until he upgrades the talent in stores. He took over a complete rebuild. Again, I wrote this story on Kevin Ollie that I think, I'm not going to say contributed to him being fired, but there was a lot of stuff in there about him not grinding. A lot. I talked to a ton of people around the program, and they replaced Kevin Ollie with a guy who is an absolute killer in his work ethic, and there's almost something missing with Dan in a way because he just needs to prove himself. He needs to win. Again, Andrea Hurley, his wife, summed it up best with Dan Hurley, and she said, "When he loses, when he loses, he's miserable. When he wins, he's miserable. He is never completely happy and never completely satisfied, and that drives him, and that has driven him at UConn to get to this point. And I think he's happy today, but again, I think he's going to wake up tomorrow morning and be like,
Not wake up. We just talked to him in the back, and he's like, I guess we gotta celebrate at some point, but I already just told my assistants to go start downloading clips of Texas and Miami so we can watch them on the flight back. Like, there's a certain way that he's wired, and I also do think that it's.
I think it's a little brother syndrome a little bit.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is
Sure.
Like, is he's never been like the guy. There's always been, when he was a player, his brother was this All-American, the star of Duke, won 2 national titles. Was he a national player of the year or something? Number 7 pick.
Bobby was the guy. Yeah,
Bobby was the guy. And then when he got into coaching, it was his father was like this Hall of Famer, one of the greatest high school coaches of
You'll
all
never
time.
live up to your brother as a player. You'll never live up to your father as a coach.
And until now. And
right.
now he is in the Final Four with a chance. Like, they're going to be the favorite to win the national title no matter who they play heading into the Final Four. Like, it is I would love to have a real candid conversation with him about that, on like what that would mean to him and how that is kind of. He's a fascinating psychological story.
There's no doubt.
There's a lot
That's
going
one
on
word
there.
for it.
Yeah, he certainly is that. I thought the most telling thing, and this was something small when we were standing on the court after the game, and he's kind of a rebel in that you look at all the guys that are there, they're cutting down the nets. Danny's the only guy with his hat on backwards.
Yes.
And I don't know how many people notice that, But I saw it and I was like, that's very on brand.
Yeah.
He's the only person with his hat on backwards.
Yeah, speaking of his hat on backwards, I was able to catch up with Dan Hurley after the game in the back. Our cameraman was Jeff Goodman. Don't judge us if the shot isn't great, but we were able to catch up with Dan. Let's cut to that interview now. Welcome. Now let me welcome onto the field of 68 after dark, UConn head coach Dan Hurley. Just made it to the Final Four. UConn's officially back, right?
Yeah, it's not. It's coming is now done. We're back. I think we're back.
So just when you guys were going through that bad spell in January, right? Did you still believe that this group could get to this point, that they could get to this level again?
I mean, a level of the performance that we've played at through these 4 games in terms of, the way that we've dominated these opponents. I knew we could advance. I knew we could definitely make a run. The Big East just in general gets underrated in terms of the quality, especially the top 4 or 5 of that league was a monster this year. And I just knew that, once we got to the NCAA tournament, the games get officiated a little bit tighter and there's a little bit more freedom of movement. It's less of a UFC fight and more of a basketball game. So did I think we would dominate this level of quality opponent? Probably not, or definitely not, but I knew we could be where we are right now.
Adama Sanogo, been one of the best players in this tournament to date. The passing today, 5 assists. Are you going to take credit for that?
No, I'm going to give that to Luke. I got Luke and Kamani have done an unbelievable job with the guards and the bigs. Those are 2 guys whose phones should be ringing off the hook for head coaching opportunities. They're 2 of the best in the country, and Luke's done a great job with Adama, just getting him to buy in, helping him kind of develop the fundamentals and the vision to be able to deliver it. And then we did a bad job, I think, of deploying, Andre during that one stretch of season in terms of, where could we put him when people are guarding them the way that they were, and so I think it's a combination of Adama's skills developing and us being smart enough to put Andre in the right spots finally.
Yeah, unlocking Andre to me is the key to this team hitting their ceiling, right? What's different? You're putting them in short corners. You're using them as a roller. Is it just about making sure that defender is engaged? Yeah,
there's places that you could cut him from. We went to school on some NBA things in terms of what they do with guys who aren't that get played soft, and so as a cutter. He's got a free run to the offensive glass if they're going to play him like that. He could get into pass follows with our guards that can really shoot. Now people are forced to go over screens with him, and now he's rolling and he could attack the rim. And then we also just pleaded with him to play that maniacal defense and don't get rattled by it. Get on the defensive glass and push that ball in transition, because there's no one more exciting to watch in college basketball in the break than Andre Jackson.
You're in the Final Four. Does it feel as good as you thought it would feel?
Yeah, it feels great. I mean, it's exciting. I mean, you know me. I think as soon as I walked in, I think Kamani said, like, so it's Texas or Miami, right? And then I asked him to put some, download some of both teams so we could watch them on the plane tonight. So that's just the way that, that's how we were all wired, man. It's like, but I think we'll enjoy it tonight on the plane. We'll have a good time on the flight.
What are you celebrating with?
I'm a tequila. I'm a tequila drinker.
Well, listen, I hope you have quite a few tequilas. I had too many last night. Field 68 after dark.
I will not have them on the plane in front of the student athletes, though.
Smart answer. Dan Hurley will be celebrating with some tequilas. At some point, Tio and I are going to go celebrate with a couple slices of pizza somewhere.
Pizza, please.
Before we do, to me, we were just talking
your
about
secret
this.
pizza
The
spot.
secret
the
pizza
secret-
spot.
They had a
At the
line
Cousin
from here to
Follows.
Did you know
Reno.
it's actually called secret pizza?
See,
Oh, and that was
Yeah.
what it's called. I thought it was.
It's called secret
Okay.
pizza.
Oh, it wasn't
Okay,
lying.
so now that makes more sense.
Yeah,
I thought you
don't-
meant like it's
he
a
didn't,
secret
He
spot.
didn't know it. He didn't know it was called that. That was
Okay.
just like it worked out that way. Anyway, UConn season flipped to me once they figured out how to be able to use Andre Jackson in a way offensively.
Yeah, they started. Teams started monster manning him, and at the end
Explain
of
what that is.
in the middle of January, people just started playing somebody in the paint against Andre
Rondoing.
Jackson. Yeah, they rondoed him, or they Russell Westbrooked him this season
too.
Like they're just sitting somebody in, and then they can be quote unquote ultra help side. What's happening now is he's using it as a runway as opposed to a stoplight. So now the guy's sitting in there in the paint, and he's
That's
like,
a great quote.
I can get going downhill fast, and then I'm even tougher to guard because I'm so stinking athletic. It's ridiculous. So that happens. He can still get by that guy in the paint because he's got so much speed going on. Or what they've also done is they've put him in the dunker spot. And when they put him in the dunker spot, the surprising thing is the fact that Adama Sanogo has been able to get by some 5 men. So what happens is he's using his ball handling ability at 6'9", 270 pounds, whatever he is. He's a big boy. I'm not sure what he weighs, but he's big. And he can draw over help, and then Andre can get a couple of dunks. And then teams start to be like, we can't do this anymore. Second half, Gonzaga quit doing that. And that's when it changed because they found out different ways. Andre Jackson found out different ways to help facilitate offense even with nobody guarding him. So what does that mean also? He passes the ball, jumps right into a ball screen. Something like that because there's no help right there. You're getting a lot of space for some of these guys. He's using his athleticism by playing with speed in space. That helps too. And then Hurley's helped him out by putting him in that dunker spot to where he can get some confidence. If he hits 1 3 a game, it's a complete win. If he shoots 2 3s a game, I'm fine with that too. Because even if he goes 0 for 2, you still have to at least
You got to have the
say,
threat.
hey, it's going to be
the
there.
Threat.
That's
it's the
right.
threat of the 3 more than actually making the 3.
Exactly right.
Adama Sanogo as a passer. How about this? His
Really good.
career high coming into tonight was 3 assists. In the month of March, in 7 games, do you know how many assists he had coming into tonight?
Go ahead.
4 total. First half tonight, he had 5. It's part of the reason why they were able to kind of flip what Gonzaga was doing. Gonzaga had some really interesting defensive tweaks, and we can talk about that in a little
Well,
bit. But
Timmy started
On
Jackson.
on Jackson, and he did that. He rondoed him.
Yeah.
He rondoed him early, and
And
again,
then what they did was they put him on the same side when Adama would post up, and Timmy would go double, and you got that little pocket pass, and got 3 or 4 dunks out of it.
They did.
How good has Sanogo been?
well, Sanogo was a black hole last year, a complete black hole. Like you threw it into him, you knew you weren't getting the ball back. And tonight, I think, showed the maturation of Sanogo. And again, it's not that he's not a willing passer. It just took him time.
He didn't know where to go with it.
Right. It just took him time to figure it out. And tonight, man, if he can do that again next week in Houston, it adds another element that UConn has that, again, makes up for their one glaring deficiency, which is a lack of a point guard. I talked to Bobby Hurley after the game, and we were talking about that. He goes, yeah, but like that's it. They have everything else, and we'll get Bobby Hurley on this week in Houston. I assume he'll be there, and he'll have some great stories about his brother. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that.
Yeah. All right. So this was the end of Drew Timmy's career, it appears. I think he still has a year of eligibility.
He does,
if
but he said
wants
he's
to
done.
use it, but he
He
said he's done.
I respect that, man.
22. What was it? 2,295
Over
career points?
2,300 points. including tonight.
2,300 career points. Drew Timmy. I mean, Goodman. This kid. I mean, all-time great player, right? Is that fair to say?
Oh, hell yeah. All-time great player. Yes, one of the greatest college basketball players we've ever seen. Now, he didn't get the title, but again, he got close, and he got that program to a level. I mean, I tweeted, I'm looking for it right now. You can look for it. His record now in his career. I think that was his 13th career loss.
That's crazy.
13 in his career. That's insanity. I went in the locker room after the game just because, again, first time I saw him was at the Peach Jam and fell in love with him because of the way he plays.
Sure.
The emotion and everything.
The sheer joy in which he
Yeah,
plays.
like he has fun. Now, sometimes, again, people don't like him because, the stash thing and whatever, and he'll talk some shit. But you know what players will say about him, they've gone against him, is like he just loves to talk. Like it's not bad trash talking. He just talks to him all game.
Yep.
He loves that, and again, like it was sad to see him go out this way. Like they never even kind of put up a fight because he didn't have enough around him to put up a fight. He didn't. You could see it tonight.
Yeah, it-
And that fourth foul, listen, whether John Gaffney got it right, wrong, or whatever, it didn't matter. They weren't winning this game. They weren't coming close. Whether that call was
They
accurate.
got beat by 30. Like you can't blame the officials on that. I don't think the officials were great tonight. I think if it was a
They didn't change the game.
Yeah,
Right,
if
at
it
all.
was a completely biased Gonzaga whistle, then like you probably lose by 20.
Hey, the other thing can we talk about is and I'm reverting back a little bit to UConn, but Dan Hurley has been on his much better behavior with the officials over the last month or two.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Much better.
In this game?
Yes.
In this game,
Yes.
the first 2 TV
Yes.
timeouts, he went ballistic.
All right,
Did you not see what happened
Oh,
during the TV timeout though?
Yeah.
Whenever the referee was still there.
Yeah,
Did you
what-
see the interview? It was fantastic.
Yeah, well, what I didn't see.
I was
the
watching
interview,
it on the way over.
But what happened was then when he would start going nuts, Luke Murray,
Yeah, they grab
Kamani
him.
Young,
They grab him.
and Tom Moore would all just walk between them, and they would create a wall, and they would put their heads down like this, and they just start. All three of them would just start walking at the same time, and Hurley would have nowhere to go. It was. Oh,
He's still been better, trust me. He's been better. On the whole.
The interview that the quick one question it turned into a 2 question because I can't. Lauren Shahadi, I think, is the one. And she's like, "What were you and the official talking about?" He's like, he's just the best in the business. He just does such a phenomenal job." And he starts joking around, and the referee's on the baseline laughing. And he's
Probably
like,
Gaffney.
"Yeah, he's like, he's just one of the best we have in this game." He's just kissing his ass like crazy, and then they kind of move on. But you could see like there wasn't a whole lot of malice between the two. So that is a big difference because there has certainly been a little bit.
So
Yes.
I asked you guys
Hold
about
on,
FAU.
we have two teams that have made the Final Four.
Yeah.
2 more bids are going to be clinched to Houston. We are going to be talking about that coming up next. Goodman is going to tell you why it's going to be one of the more intriguing Elite 8 days that we've seen in a while. All right, we have any questions in the chat?
We do have a nice chat question here.
Keep it
We
PG,
have a nice
keep
one.
it
I actually really like
PG.
this one from Kyle. He wants to know what changes would you guys make to the transfer portal so you can kind of get this poaching gone with. or done with?
The poaching stuff is always going to be there because coaches that happens no matter what, right?
Coaching stuff was happening when I was playing.
Yeah, that's the way that it works. If my opinion personally is that you don't allow players to put their name in the transfer portal officially until either after the season or at least after the first weekend of the tournament. If you want to do it heading into the Sweet 16, so let these guys kind of get ahead of it a little
It's
bit.
2 more weeks. Just
Yeah.
wait until
Yeah,
the end.
just-
Yeah, I think that it's better to just wait
Cut
until
it
the end.
down too. Cut down the amount of time. Like to me, it's almost too long. Let these kids. Okay, you got a month.
Yep.
You got a month to decide.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to give you here. So we'll give you,
It's not like there's
April
any secrets
6th.
either. There's film on these kids.
April 6th to May 1st. You want to cut off May 1st, whatever. You get 3.5 weeks, and
It's,
and you can go
to
in.
me, it's less the.
But they'll put out anyway. I mean, they'll put even if it's not open.
I
they'll
thought-
just put out a statement.
Yeah.
Put
Well,
out a tweet.
I know,
thought
but-
you made a good point. What was a couple days ago? It was something along the lines of, oh, damn it, I lost my train of thought. But it's something along the lines of like if you push it back, then at least you're not rewarding teams that sucked. I think that's a big difference.
Yep.
Well, you said 10 seconds. Huh?
Yeah, we got 10 seconds.
seconds.
Dagan's going to get mad at you.
He's got a quick count.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. We are live on Sirius XM, Channel 84, College Sports Radio. We are streaming over on YouTube right now. We are live. Jump in the chat. Ask us questions. We're going to be answering them during breaks, and we're going to be answering them in the afters. Hopefully the afters won't be as aftery as it was last night.
I got one for you before we move on to the next games. Can I hit you with one Gonzaga question?
What if I say no?
I don't care. Okay. I'll hit T.O. with it.
Okay.
Happy to be a part.
So Tommy Lloyd left 2 years ago. I think you know where I'm going with this now. They had Jalen Suggs, Chet Holmgren, high-end players. This year, I thought they maxed out with what they did with their talent. I actually thought Mark Few did a hell of a coaching job and his staff this year. You don't have that elite level recruiter anymore. Is this going to be the start of kind of the decline-ish to where Gonzaga isn't fighting for national titles and Final Fours anymore?
I'm not willing to say that it's not the elite. They're not able to get those elite recruits, but I think Nolan Hickman and Hunter Salas, they were 5-star kids during a COVID year where you couldn't put your eyes on guys. So I think there's still TBD. We can, to be determined, this, that, and the third, but we'll be able to see. We'll be able to see exactly how that works over the next 2 to 3 years. It's hard to say right now. I'm not sure there's
looking
a lot
at
behind
this
Timmy
team
right now. Either.
That's what I'm saying. You lose the one dude you got, I assume Strother will try to go.
He probably should.
Well, but should he? Yes, you could say that, but like Julian Strother needs, like he was.
You know what I'll say? I'm gonna flip my opinion on that. I think that he probably should come back
That's what I'm saying. Like he could be the guy. What does he need more than anything?
to be the guy.
The pressure that like have to do it every single night because it wasn't really there on him. He had Drew Timmy to rely on.
And
So
I'm not.
I just don't. I'm worried about this because here's the thing with Huey. Like he's done an incredible job his way, right? He's done it his way. He's not, and I've said this over and over. He's actually taught me a lot about how to be a better father. We've had a lot of conversations about that because he's got the best work-life balance of probably any coach in America. He's probably the opposite of Tom Izzo. Izzo's out every day working, and Few doesn't really go to the Peach Jam. You know, he loves to fish. He loves to be around his family. I was told today, I don't know if I can say this or not, but their former AD, Mike Roth, told me today, he said, we've never been on one of the foreign trips because he wants to be around his family during the summers. He doesn't want to go out on a foreign trip. So I think, again, he's not a killer recruiter. He's been able to do it based on reputation and identifying, and he'll get some training. Like, they're going to be good. I'm not saying they're not going to be good. I'm not saying they're not going to still own the WCC. I'm just saying, are they going to be at that level, at that elite level that they've been at?
It's so hard to be at that elite level, period, right? Like, we look at...
They've been so consistent. What was this, their 8th straight Sweet 16?
Yeah, and I still...
That's crazy.
They're still going to be, like, at that level, I think. Sweet 16 good. It's just so hard to be, like, national title good.
Sure.
There's a reason why national titles are so damn hard to win, and so few guys actually win them, right? So I'm not super concerned about that. There's going to be years where they end up getting the right guys, and you get a transfer coming in, and things are going to click. Like, we didn't look at this UConn team. No, how many people had them preseason top 25?
Dan Hurley didn't even. I remember going to practice before the start of the season. He was like, if we had R.J. Cole and who else left after last year?
Tyrese Martin.
Tyrese Martin. He was like, if we had Cole and Tyrese, then I think we could be a final. That's literally his quote. If we had Cole and Tyrese Martin, I think we could be a Final Four team.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have either, and you're a Final Four team.
Yeah, you know what's been really big for them is that the development of Andre Jackson as a playmaker has taken a lot of that pressure off of Tristan Newton. Because now it's to the point where you just got to get them into their set so you can run your stuff. And it was really, we mentioned this earlier, Gonzaga tried to do two different things, right? When they had Andre Jackson on the floor, they weren't guarding him. What do you call it, monster manning him?
Yeah, monster man. It was just terminology of you.
The monster
told
they were
before.
monster mashing him.
Monster
But when he wasn't on the floor, they were hedging hard on every ball screen, every dribble handoff, every time that UConn ran one of those sets to try to blow it up.
Yep.
To try to make sure that they couldn't actually run their stuff.
It's hard
That's
to do
what
when
you
you
gotta
got
do to
guards
beat
that are
them.
really.
Yeah, and now they got two guys that can kind of create, and if you need to, you can just throw the ball into Adama Sanogo in the post and let him go one-on-one because you can't help off. They got too many shooters.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's taking a little bit of the pressure off of Tristan Newton.
Yeah, and he can initiate offense before he even gets past half court. Like, he makes that first pass before he gets past half court. So it's not like he's yielding a bunch of effort in order to initiate their offense. And, guys, their offense is 20 seconds long. Like, whenever they're running stuff, it's 20 seconds long. So as soon as he gets rid of the ball, he can turn back into what he naturally is, a two-guard. I'm not sure, really, their point guard's Andre Jackson. I mean,
no question.
He's their point guard.
Yes.
He just doesn't bring the ball up the floor. And I don't know that they need it, too, because, like, this team, if they do try to blitz the ball screens or something like that, they have guys that are unselfish enough to get rid of it.
Even
quick.
like
And then you're
Hawkins
gonna
is
play-
almost too unselfish in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
Like you almost want him to shot hunt. I mean, first 10 minutes of the game, I think he had 2 shots. I'm like, get him going, right?
But you don't need to, right? Like,
But
part-
you want to.
part-
You
part
want to
of-
see him. I don't know. I feel like
not really.
sometimes
Like,
I feel like he's too chill.
he is too chill. Like, there's he's not the most emotive guy in the world. Like, he's just going to kind of go out there and do what he does. I don't think you want him to shot hunt because the whole reason that everything kind of works
Hit
is
20
that,
today.
Yeah, is that, like,
Oh,
he
15
just,
shots.
He just kind of runs. They run, and they move, and the ball keeps popping around, and that's why they're so difficult to guard because it'll go to the other side of the floor, and there'll be like 3 quick little dribble handoffs in a row, and
And after the first 10 to 12 minutes, it's hard to chase guys around for a
Yes.
long time. Like
they are in ridiculous shape.
ridiculous shape. But just being a shooter, obviously not the player that Jordan Hawkins is, but like if you settle into the game a little bit longer, sometimes your looks are going to be a little bit cleaner, and you're going to be fully in the rhythm of the game. I was always a rhythm guy, where I had to catch stepping 1-2, or whether I was a good balance guy and I was a rhythm guy. Like if the ball moved and I was a part of the action, I got to touch the ball and get rid of it, and I felt in the flow, I was going to play better. It seems like he's a little bit the same way, and that if that ball moves some, he touches it, doesn't shoot his first look, you kind of find the flow of the game you're playing right then. It sounds very like Kobe-ish, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a little bit too much feel to really describe that.
All right, so we have the other 2 games in the Elite Eight coming up. Texas is playing Miami. And we
That's going
have
to be a good game.
Creighton playing San Diego State. There's a lot of intrigue with the Creighton-San Diego State game. I want to start with Texas-Miami. Where do you stand? Where do you stand here? Let me ask you this. Let me phrase it to you like this. What is the key to this game? Who's going to be the guy that has to like step up? Who's going to be the player that you're looking at and saying this is going to be the guy that determines who wins this game?
I mean, I want to say it's almost like a Jordan Miller. Like I think the guards are kind of similar, right? They both got really good perimeter players. I don't know if Timmy Allen. This is a very evenly matched game.
It really is.
Like I look at it and I'm like, okay, where's the advantage? I guess if Dylan Disu is still hurt, there's a level of I guess, yes, that's what it would be, Norchad Omier for me, because of his toughness. Like, that's the difference for me, his toughness. Now,
He's a badass.
I'm not going with the coaching again because last time I did that, I got embarrassed when I said that Sean Miller, would outcoach Rodney Terry or something like that. I mean, they kicked Xavier's ass, absolutely kicked their ass.
They didn't let Xavier run either because they take good shots. I think it comes down to guards. I know they're evenly matched, but when you play the certain style like you do, like Marcus Carr, he creates a lot of stuff for himself. Tyrese Hunter, not as much for himself, but still capable. You look at the other side, Isaiah Wong creates shots for himself. Nigel Pack creates shots for him. Who's going to hit those shots? A lot of people who watch both the NBA and college say, well, the shot making at the college level just stinks. I'm not sure that's going to be the case this game. That's 2 teams with high-level shot makers that can do it on their own. Well, it's going to come down to which team makes more tough shots because both teams defend, both teams can create. I think the inside game, Christian Bishop, who I think is a nice player, he's going to get pushed around a little bit by Omier, but I think the offensive boards and shot creation, which team can do more?
I'm going to say the toughness. I'm going to say on the glass.
Right.
I'm going to say on the glass. Like, because I do. I think both teams have really good guards. And, obviously, we know if one of them shoots like 2 for 18 from 3, they're in trouble. They're done. But if it's evenly, in terms of the shooting, if it's about the same, to me, it's about toughness. And if it's about toughness, I got one dude. I got Norchad
Omier. Yep.
I think that it's going to come down to, this is going to sound simplistic, but it's just going to come down to Isaiah Wong and Nigel Pack. If those dudes are hitting their shots, if they get where they want to go, and those shots are going down, Miami's going to win. That's just what it's going to be. We saw them do it last night to Houston. They put up 89 points on Houston. How many teams put up 89 points in Houston? Nobody puts up 89 points on Houston.
The thing is when you play those tough defensive teams like a Houston or like, I don't know, throw another arbitrary, really good defensive
Tennessee.
team. Tennessee, for example, they take you out of your offense, right? If there's no offense to begin with and you just got dudes that can make shots, you can get hot. Miami has that, right? So, that's kind of the thing. You have to have good individual defenders on top of being good team defenders when you play a team like Miami that can have so many different guys go off by themselves.
By the way, if Texas wins tomorrow, like Chris Del Conte, like don't even wait. Don't even wait till the Final Four. Just give him a contract. You should have a contract ready. Have it ready because if they win tomorrow, and again, even if they lose, I think he should get it. But if they win tomorrow, it's like, okay, Monday morning, You come back, hey, listen, sign this thing.
No, baby, dangle the carrot all the way to the championship game. Dangle that carrot.
It's worked. I guess. I guess honestly, maybe you need
Yeah.
to, right? Maybe
Yeah,
it
I
can't
guess
hurt.
so.
Why screw up a good thing right
he's
now?
been good,
Honestly, I think that it helps, man. I said this on the pregame show. I think that it helps having the players feel like they are playing for Rodney Terry to make sure
That's
he
kinda
has-
cool.
like, I do think that there's an element of that. And if Chris Del Conte comes out and says, "Look, we knew we were going to do this, but we thought that this narrative and this motivation was something that could help," like, would you be all that surprised?
No,
People
that
do
would
stuff
be
like that all the
terrible.
time, right? Like, it's just the motivational
I
mind
know,
games.
but
that
we
you need
know.
to-
We know. I mean, I know that he didn't want to give it to him.
Yeah,
He wanted to get a big fish, and I don't think he's going to get a big
Texas.
fish.
Of course they do. It's Texas. That's what they do. They fire guys that won the Big East tournament and the Big East regular season title. They get rid of guys out here. Rick Barnes, who has turned Tennessee back into a basketball power. That's what they do. All right, Creighton, San Diego State. There is an unbelievable amount of like weird storylines going on with this game. My favorite one is that there are two siblings that are going to be playing in this
So
game.
crazy.
It's crazy. We're going to be talking about that coming up next. Field of 68 after dark. Goodman,
Yeah.
do you ever get tired of trying to prove that you won an argument, that your takes weren't hot, that they were just correct?
Yeah, I get tired of it.
T.O., do you ever get tired of listening to me
Yes.
say over and
What?
over
What's the
again
question?
how many things, how much I've gotten right and how smart I am without being able to have your own takes remembered and honored? by the-
Or not see which takes Dauster gets wrong, which is
Yeah,
a
you
lot
ever
more
get
the
tired
big
of
ones
that?
than
You
the
ever
ones
get tired of
he
that?
gets
Well, I get an answer to both of your problems.
Oh, good.
Vaulted is a new sports prediction app that turns your opinions into facts. You can store all of your predictions and hot takes in your own vault now and forever. Challenge your friends, keep track of the results, and prove that you are, in fact, the smartest one in the room. Vaulted will also be releasing more than 50 pools in the next 3 months for the NBA playoffs. So download the app at the link below. It's in the description on the podcast feed, wherever you're listening to it, and get sign up for your 3-month trial and store your predictions now and forever.
Forever.
What movie is that from?
Don't know.
Sandlot.
Oh, really? Is that right? Sandlot.
Let's
We have 20 seconds.
Have you seen that movie? Have you seen that movie?
T.O.'s pulling a Fanta over
I'm
here.
not.
Afters are going to get weird again. T.O.'s flu game. Welcome back. Field of 68 after dark. We are live. Sirius XM Channel 84. That is College Sports Radio. We are streaming over on YouTube. Jump in the chat. Ask us questions. We got the afters coming up. We are going to be answering them in about 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that. Rob Dauster, Terrence Oglesby, Jeff Goodman. We're going to be talking Creighton and San Diego State. Just a couple weird things about this game. One, Creighton came back from, it was like a 12-point, I forget exactly what it was, but they came back to beat San Diego State first round of the NCAA tournament last year. Both teams played in the Maui Invitational this year. They flew together to the Maui Invitational on the same private plane. Arthur Kaluma, Adam Seiko are brothers, and they are going to be playing each other in the Elite Eight for a chance to go to the Final Four. What do you make of this matchup, Jeff?
I didn't think San Diego State would get this far. You know, I remember seeing them last year in the Mountain West tournament, and they've gotten better offensively, but I was still like, yeah. And I think Dutcher's done an unbelievable job with this program. They haven't blown me away this year. And the Mountain West wasn't very good this year. So I really like Creighton here because I've been on Creighton's bandwagon since before the season began. I just think they're balanced. You know, they've got some experience, most of them, with the NCAA tournament, although, you know, again, they lost to Kansas last year without Kalkbrenner and Nemhard, and they've been their best two players so far in the NCAA tournament. I trust them more. I think they're better defensively than they've been over the years. They're not as good shooting. That scares me because they can go through a bad shooting night. That would scare me. But I think collectively, Shireman to me is a key. He's huge. He's got to make shots from the perimeter because, again, other than him, they don't have another, real dude who can make them.
Trey Alexander can make them, but it's not the same kind of like.
Shireman can go like 5 for 7.
Yes,
Right.
That's not
Right.
what Trey Alexander can do. Yeah. To me, what this kind of comes down to is that Creighton is San Diego State, just with like better dudes, right? They kind of do the same
I
stuff.
just feel San Diego State's deeper. They have more bodies they can
Sure,
throw out
definitely.
there. That's the
Literally
only thing.
everybody's deeper than Creighton.
Yeah, that's true, but that also scares me whenever you play against an uber physical team like San Diego State. It's just a bunch of grown ass men.
Uber physical.
Uber. I couldn't think of a better word there. I like that.
But I
Uber
don't
physical.
think, you know what? I don't think Creighton's soft. And we've
No, I
said
don't
that
think
about
so.
them before. Like in the past, we've called Creighton soft. I don't think we can do that with this team.
No.
No.
That's the difference. Like, to me, Creighton's more well-rounded than they've been in years. So, again, they can win a game in the 60s, where I'm not sure I would have said that a few years ago. And this game might be in the 60s.
Yeah, it
probably will be.
That's probably what it's going to end up being. I mean, it's very difficult to speed a game up against a team that's going to try to slow everything down.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and they guard so well individually. Like, where are you going to create closeouts? Which is where Shireman flourishes, which is where Kaluma flourishes. Like, where are you going to create closeouts? Because they guard on the ball really well. That's kind of the thing that scares me a little bit. Like, where are they going to be able to get open looks and get that ball popping like Creighton, where they function best?
Nothing will surprise me now in this tournament.
Nothing.
That's what I will say. I mean, with
I'm-
FAU going to a Final Four.
Yeah, I'm actually leaning towards San Diego State a
Are
little
you?
bit, just
Talk
because
yourself
of
into it?
I've talked myself into it. Now, when we do this show tomorrow morning, I'll probably go against it. But like,
Well, that'll be after your secret pizza.
yeah,
Well,
I need the
and
secret hole in the wall
you're,
pizza.
You're starting to figure out the key to this whole content business.
Go both sides.
Yeah.
Like that's what you do. So
Yeah.
you pick one team the
Yeah.
night before that,
and then you change.
and then you get to come
cuts
back
it.
and
He
Yeah.
clips it.
and then you clip it.
The one
That's
that
all
he
you
gets
got to be
right.
able to do.
and
yeah.
then you also say, I talked about this yesterday.
Yeah. We talked about it yesterday.
I told
We
you.
did.
Yeah, I told you guys.
We've been doing a lot of
That's why
talking.
all of Dauster's clips are all the things he got right. But
Yeah,
we got
that's
vaulted
right.
now. We
Yeah,
got vaulted.
yeah, we got
So you can
vaulted.
put out whatever clip you want. We got vaulted to hold you accountable.
The only way you can find out is if you download the app.
right.
Otherwise, you're just gonna be looking at me get all my victory laps is what you're gonna be getting. All right,
Yeah.
give me the one guy, the X factor. Who is gonna have a big game? Who's gonna have a bad game? Who is the guy that you're looking at that's gonna be the game changer tomorrow?
Matt Bradley has to be good, obviously, for San Diego State, just to have one guy that they can go to.
Does he though?
Yeah,
He
well,
scored. He scored
but-
4 points and they beat
But
Alabama.
they can't
But-
do that again.
but you can't
Just
do it
because
again.
You did it once, doesn't, and he won't.
He won't.
Another bad
You
game.
got to have one guy. I look more on Creighton's side. Like, can Nembhard create closeouts? Can he push the ball fast enough to get past that initial line of defense? How's their, Creighton? They're not. Their tempo says they're not the fastest team, but that initial 6 seconds of their offense is hard to match up with.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be huge because again, that's where the physicality it starts right with
Was it Jalen Ledee?
Nembhard.
Yeah.
That's a grown ass man too.
Yeah,
Him and
yeah.
Kalkbrenner on
He's
the
got
inside.
he's got shoulders that go out to here. He's got the Anthony Davis shoulders.
Captain Boulder shoulders.
What?
Boulder
Where are you
shoulders.
coming up with
He's
this
got
stuff
boulder
today?
shoulders.
Boulder shoulders.
Boulder.
These are
shoulders.
southern
Jalen Boulder
sayings.
shoulders. Ledee.
That's what these are. Southern sayings.
Yep.
Like mollywhopping. You ever heard that one before?
Yeah, I heard that one. Yeah.
That was me. That
I
wasn't
know.
him.
I know.
Give me some credit.
I said that. I gave you
take your
credit
own
when
credit.
you said
I
it.
know I do. I do.
I'm not going to give you credit twice on this show. You only get one.
Only get one.
Yes,
That's
you got
it.
it.
I don't subscribe to that. All right. Let me ask you guys this: which is going to be the better game tomorrow? Like, if you could only watch one, which is stupid, watch them both. Come with us.
It's Texas,
Texas,
Miami.
Miami.
It's going to be more eye pleasing.
What's going to be
and
the
it-
closer game?
I think the Texas Miami game will be close.
I do
Although
too.
Texas has blown out some teams lately.
Give me the over in that game.
Oh, it could be fun.
Miami's not stopping
Could
India.
be
I feel like
200.
no matter
It's
what
gonna be
happens,
insane.
Miami's playing. I'm just betting the over because they can't stop anybody.
No, but they
and you
can score
cannot
with
stop
anybody.
them. You just cannot stop
They
them.
just put 89 on Houston.
They
don't
put
have to play.
89 on
They don't have to play
Houston.
all that much defense. You score
Over
89
under
points.
149 and a half.
Oh.
Yeah, give me that over. Over. Let me ask you guys this. So, Underdog Fantasy is one of our partners, right? And one of the things that you can do on Underdog is they give you the numbers and the totals for points. So, if you think that someone like Isaiah Wong is going to go nuts tomorrow, 15.5 points,
I like that over.
22.5 points
Higher.
plus rebounds plus assists.
I'll ride with Isaiah Wong because Nigel Pack has been the one who's actually been hotter than Wong over these 3 tournament games. So I think, and Wong had a bad first game, really good second game, average third game. I think he bounces back, has another good game here.
Yeah, I think he's going to show up too.
Yeah. They're going to have to because Texas is such a good defensive team. You're going to have to make shots. I think Wong will hit shots.
Yeah. So you would go higher on 15.5 points. Honestly, I would take the 22.5 points plus rebounds plus assists.
Yeah,
I think he's going to go higher. I think he's going to. This feels like an Isaiah Wong 28-point outburst as Miami finds a way to get into the.
I've never been a
Final
gambler
Four.
like this stuff. There's just so much into
Well, this
it.
isn't gambling. This is fantasy sports.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
This is fantasy sports.
Yeah, okay.
Please get it correct.
Yeah, it is fantasy sports. I
To the
apologize.
people.
It is not gambling. It is fantasy sports.
So you mentioned Matt Bradley. The number for Matt Bradley, 12.5 points, higher or lower, 17.5 points plus rebounds plus assists, higher or lower. You think he's going off? You already said
I think he's going to have a good game. I would go higher just because not only that, but Miami, like Jeff said, doesn't guard all that much, right? So
You mean Creighton?
what am I talking? I'm sorry, dude. It's late. Yeah, Creighton. I don't know why I thought that.
Tio's been.
Yeah, sorry.
Listen,
I've
he's
been
fought
sick. I'm
back
sorry.
here.
Yeah, I'm
he's
sorry.
fought back from
I don't know
the
why.
depths of,
I don't know
of
why.
despair.
I was thinking Jalen Ledee, Kalkbrenner. I was thinking about that matchup.
Did you see he messed it up and now he looks like he was sunburned again because he's
Yeah, I know.
embarrassed?
That's what happens.
He's loaded up.
That's what happens with me.
I mean, what do you give him?
Ibuprofen. I'm
Everything.
loaded up.
You got everything.
Yeah. You basically have ingested an entire pharmacy over the course of the last 48
Basically.
hours
Yeah,
of
basically.
your life.
I have started to feel better though, so that's good. Just
Look
not on
better.
that question. Thank
Definitely
you.
better.
All right. Out of the 4 teams that play tomorrow, who's the most likely to win the national title out of that group?
Oh, that's a tough one. I will go with Creighton.
Yeah.
I will go with Creighton, but I don't feel good about it.
No, I think the winner of Texas Miami, and I think the national championship game is going to be that semifinal matchup between UConn and
Whoever's on that side of the
Whoever's on
bracket.
that side,
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it as well. Although I would say it would be fascinating to see a UConn Creighton national title game with
But
the
would
two
it?
teams.
I guess.
With the 2 teams that lost in the semifinals of the Big East tournament.
We've seen that matchup,
I know.
though.
In a
That's
year-
the only thing. I
in a
don't
year-
like that. I
in a
don't like
year-
Isn't it a former Big
in a
East
year-
matchup between
in
Miami?
In a year where
Why don't we-
Rick Pitino
In a year,
and
yeah.
Ed Cooley both got big jobs with some of the powerhouse programs. Listen, we are going to be coming to the afters in just a minute here. Jump in the chat. Make sure you ask us questions. Dagan's going to answer them. Hopefully, he is going to screen the questions tonight. We'll see if that actually happens. We will be live tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, streaming from Stadium Swim, pregame show, postgame show, as soon as we get the final buzzer. For Terrence Oglesby, for Jeff Goodman, my name is Rob Dauster. This has been the Field of 68 After Dark.
I believe we're clear.
All right. I have no idea. I can't hear anything.
I believe we're clear.
Producer Denton. I can't hear Producer Denton.
Denton has told us we are clear.
All right, perfect. There we go. Dagan, what do we got? We got any
All right.
questions in the
We
chat?
do have questions in the chat. Andrew wants to know if Texas loses tomorrow, is there any chance Chris Del Conte would offer Dusty May the job?
I don't think so. I'd be very surprised, and I'm not even sure Dusty May would be the right fit there in Texas. You know, to me,
Why would that be?
You need a Texas guy in Texas. There's so many big-time AU programs, and again, I'm a big believer, for the most part, in getting a guy who knows that. I know that the portal's changed it a little bit here, but even with the portal, it's a lot of bounce-back guys that you're going to want to look at from the area. I don't like going completely outside the box. I know it worked with like Nate Oates at Alabama, but part of the reason it worked with Nate Oates is because he inherited talent. Remember, like they weren't good.
Who all was it?
Herb Jones, Petty,
That's right.
some of those guys that Avery Johnson couldn't win with.
Mm-hmm.
So he won with them. So he got momentum.
Right.
And then it doesn't matter where you're from.
Yeah.
Once you get momentum, you win. So I think Dusty May is going to have to wait one more year. And again, like he told me, I love it there. My wife loves it there. As long as they give us resources, he told me, like, I don't really want to go to Ole Miss even if they're interested. I'd rather stay here.
Good for him.
That's
Don't mess with
interesting.
Happy.
That's one thing that we've seen, and I don't need to make that point over and over again with who it is, but sometimes going for that paycheck Really, it goes from being a place where you're beloved to a place where you are an employee.
But if somebody's offering you $3 million a year,
You have
You're
to do
changing
it.
your family.
that's 6
have to do-
years.
You have
That's
to do it.
that's life-changing money. Now, I
Yes.
think he'll get paid a year from now. I think there'll be better high major jobs that will be available. You know, again, for him, Jim Larinaga is not going to coach forever.
That's the one I would keep an eye on.
Yeah, but it may be 3 more years.
Right.
We don't know. I mean, Jim seems to like this right now, and he seems to be doing pretty well. So why would you walk away now? You're not walking away now, but if you're Dusty, are you going to be patient? I actually think he is after talking to him.
All right.
How much
Dagan.
fun has it been to watch Larinaga with his
Scott, what are you eating over there?
Yeah.
No, I don't like peanut butter. It's the only thing on the planet I don't like. Yeah, swear to God, that's it.
What?
I like peanuts. Yeah, it's weird, right? Yeah, don't like peanut butter. That's it.
Strawberry peanut butter and jelly. The chat is getting a quick look at what's happening here. This is what happens when we're
getting
late
food.
night in the. We're still live. That's why. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. You're good.
Mine?
Oh, perfect. Because perfect. Thank you. I completely forgot I left it out there. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Snacks, baby. Nothing better than
Food.
snacks in the chat. All right, what else do we have?
I lost my question here. Oh, tougher matchup for UConn, Texas or Miami?
That's a good question.
Miami.
I think it's Miami.
Miami because shot making guards shoot over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Texas got to get into the paint a little bit. It's a lot harder when those monsters are down there looking to hunt down and block shots. Miami will shoot over the top.
Yeah, I think it's Miami.
And
too.
North Shadow fights,
Yeah.
that'd be a beast matchup.
honestly,
that'd be
though-
the two strongest dudes in college basketball.
Honestly, though, I'd be a little bit concerned about that if I was Miami because Norchad, to a point, is a little bit like they do the same thing. They kind of cancel each other out, and I think Adama is better at that than what Norchad is.
If they cancel each other out, they're not canceling each other out. You're just saying.
No, I'm
Adama's
saying
better.
like they kind of do the same thing, but Adama's just a little bit better. So I would be worried about that a little bit. Like you don't get his advantage is kind of like the leverage and the explosiveness. And you don't get the advantage of the leverage when you're going up against the best leverage guy in college basketball. Like it's amazing watching Adama Sanogo get in there, hold a dude off, and get rebounds below the rim. He's the best below the rim rebounder in college
You're
basketball.
making-
He's so strong.
He just holds people off.
You're making my point for me.
Huh?
You're making my point for me. Because you're not going to be able to compete with UConn physically. You have to play a team that can shoot over the top of it because Adama's going to dominate inside. It doesn't matter if it's Norchad or not. Like, he'll get a couple tip outs and everything like that. But I feel like if there's a team that can beat them, I don't think Texas can beat them right now.
Yeah.
I think Miami could if they got extremely hot from the perimeter, which
It's so
is very
crazy.
capable.
Isn't
So I
it
agree
crazy
with you.
that
That's
UConn
fair.
is the favorite now? Like after what they went through in the middle of the year, preseason, we didn't like they're the favorite, the clear favorite now.
It really was just.
It's kind of sickening to have to deal with you.
They lost to Seton Hall. Don't forget.
That's what it
come on,
is.
I've been pretty good.
Today you were fine.
I've
You were
been pretty
fine.
good.
I only made one crude joke to Danny Hurley about you.
About me?
Yeah, you heard it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, we cannot say that one in the
No,
chat.
we
anymore.
cannot. We will
cannot
not.
say that one in the chat.
We will not. I will not.
That's an afters.
That's an
Exactly. That's right.
What else we got, Dagan?
A couple of questions about the transfer portal. Joe Girard III in the portal. Willat is actually asking a legit basketball question tonight. He wants to know, do you guys have any idea where you think he would be a good fit? Things like that. He obviously is a Pitt fan, Willat, so he wants to know if that's a spot for him.
He's a guy that's been at Syracuse forever, an upstate New York guy. I'm not convinced he's going to transfer either. Like, who knows? He went in the portal. He also put his name in and said he's going to go through the draft process.
He should.
Obviously, what?
Every player should.
Every player in
Every
college
player
basketball
should
should.
Well,
Every player in
then
college basketball
honestly,
should.
then just have them all be available for the draft.
That's what
Exactly.
you should
I would
do.
love that. I would love
Make
if
it
the
easier.
NBA
Quit making freaking announcements.
just said,
all
you
the
know
time.
what? If the NBA had everybody in the pool, and you could draft whoever the hell you want, that'd be great.
I
Bird it.
I said
You
that.
could draft a guy, let him go back to
Awesome.
college.
I
and you
love
get-
that. I actually love that because, again, it would have a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for?
Well, now that NIL is available,
Strategy.
But now that NIL is available, right? Technically, couldn't NBA teams pay them? create NIL deals with these teams where they draft them and then send them back to college and make be NIL deals?
But maybe Gerard
what if
goes
it's-
somewhere that
but
he
what
can
if-
get
what
more
if we have a
NIL.
Chicago Bulls collective that drafts a player and is like, he's not
Sends
ready.
him all to
Let's
DePaul.
Let's
It's
send
awesome.
him back to college. He's got to go to DePaul.
But a guy like Joe
Where
Girard,
would he
it's a
fit?
great example because it's like, all right, throw your name in the portal, and let me see if somebody pays me $100,000 for NIL. You know what?
He's such an interesting one because he hasn't played defense for 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
but he
And
scores
played,
it.
and he played the point for his first three, and he's not a point. He's an undersized
Sucker
two.
can score. though.
Honestly, like
You know what makes sense in a guy who's taking guys like that. Huggins is taking guys like that.
Yeah, oh yeah. Just give him the green light now.
Give him the green light.
Yeah.
Hopefully you play enough defense. We'll just see.
You showed me a tweet that Kirk Crease is
Yeah, he put it
visiting
out.
West Virginia.
Yeah, he's
hold
visiting.
on. That was my next question.
Well, hold on. Can I say one thing real quick about Joe
Kirk
Girard?
Crease and Hugs. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It would be
Oh
awesome.
my God.
Dauster, get your point in.
Joe Girard, I think he should do the Foster Lawyer method. Go down,
UMass.
play in the Atlantic 10, go to UMass.
He looked at UMass
go to
when
something
Matt
like
McCall
that.
was
Yeah.
there. When I
Go
was
to
there, I saw
go
him
to
visit.
go to a school at that level and just go be an absolute superstar and go score 22 points a game. He'll have a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Imagine him playing for Frank Martin.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'd be a marriage.
I
made.
don't love that one.
Yeah, I don't know if that'd be a marriage made in
Same
heaven.
kind of question for Kerr. Any spots you'd like to see him, or
I think it'd be.
could you see
I
him?
think it'd be very interesting to see him end up for the coach that brought him over from Estonia. As
John
Xavier.
Miller. That would make sense.
I haven't talked to Sean about that at all. So I have no idea if there's actually anything there.
He fits that offense really well.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. So, what else we got, Dagan?
Scott's delivering your computer
Yes.
and a little sandwich for you.
Legend.
This is elite over here. You don't get this everywhere. You get this at T-Mobile.
Yes.
That's about
There
it.
you go. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Go on the car and listen
All right.
to XM, Sirius XM number 80, whatever.
84, Channel 84, College Sports Radio.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Great seeing you.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything.
man. Thank
Thanks.
you for everything.
Take care.
Dagan, what else we got? in the
Yeah, I
chat?
just had my question. I lost it. Oh, could Dusty May turn Florida Atlantic into a mid-major power? I know the answer to this question, but I want to hear.
They're not. They're not going to be. They're going to the American.
Okay.
Still
not-
mid-major.
It's not.
Okay. Okay. Can they turn them into like a similar powerhouse to like a Gonzaga or something like that? Can you
I
do
mean,
that?
nobody's going to be Gonzaga. again. Like, I don't
It's a
like when
question in the
people
chat. I'm
say
just
that.
gonna Sorry.
I don't like when
Gonzaga.
people say that, like, they're going to be the next Gonzaga. Like, it just doesn't happen. You know, I mean, how many of those are there?
I think it's
There's
much
one
more,
because there's a little bit isolated talent.
You
base up
have
there
to
in
give the
Pacific Northwest.
resources. Like, the resources have to be there to be able to do a Gonzaga or
Yeah.
a VCU or even a George Mason.
I think it's much more likely
A
that
Butler.
they end up being something like a Loyola Chicago, where they'll have a couple years,
Yeah.
and once this
Yeah.
crop goes through,
They're
then
not going to keep Dusty May forever.
yes,
That's the thing. There's a certain shelf life for Dusty May at FAU, and it's probably another year or two. Because
And-
whatever he'll sign a contract. Listen, he's going to sign a contract, and
It'll be double the money
ultimately,
and half the buyout.
that'll be the deal. Whatever the buyout is.
Yep.
Like Pat Kelsey's got a buyout right now. It might be $1.5 million. Any high major that wants him at $1.5 million, as long as you're Dusty May, you have the buyout be like under $2 million.
Yep.
And then anybody who wants you is going to absolutely go after you, and there'll be plenty. I'm going to look right now of some of the jobs that are open next year that would be interested in him.
I'm also just going to address this before I ask the next question. Everybody keeps asking where Fanta is. He's on a flight, everybody. That's why he's not here. He's on a
he
flight.
got what T.O. had.
That's not true. You don't got to spread
I hope
false
not.
information.
Yeah,
He
let's not
talked
do
about
that.
the red eye last night that he was.
Yeah, he's
taking.
on a flight,
We
everybody.
know where he is.
Yeah.
He's taking a plane right now.
All right. Penn State coaching update. Anything?
I mean, you know, Matt Langle, the deal is basically like he's not the target. He's not the guy.
That makes.
They're
no sense.
interested
That
in
makes
him.
no sense
They're
to me.
interested in him, but the offer is not. It's not even an offer yet. They basically are saying you're one of 10 guys that's got to go through the process. And if I'm Matt Langle, saying thanks but no thanks, I should be the guy,
He's been waiting
or
for that
one of like
opportunity for a
2 or
long time.
3. I'm not going through a dog and pony show for this thing, right? I've accomplished way too much to be put in a group with some assistant coaches. There's no way. There's
Right.
no way. And the money's not at the point where it should be either for this job right now to get a guy like Matt Langel. Matt Langel's going to get paid kind of like Dusty is at FAU. Matt Langel's going to get paid a good amount of money, and he'll wait it out for the right job. Penn State's not a good enough job anyway. It's not. Penn is the one that should be all over him too, and they haven't moved.
You mean Temple?
Temple. I'm sorry. What did I say?
That was also a question.
I'm
in the chat.
tired.
What about
So you
what
might as
about
well
Mark
keep-
Schmidt going to Penn State?
Yeah, I mean he could be in the mix. Mike Rhodes.
Mike Rhodes would make a lot of sense there too.
I don't know if it is. Makes a lot of sense for Penn State, but if you're Mike Rhodes, are you leaving VCU for Penn State?
No.
No, probably not.
Right.
But it's that's a name I would target. What else we got, Dagan?
I'm going to make this our last one, and then we're going to go toast because
my eyes are-
we're all like a
I'm
little
tired.
beat up here. I know Dauster's running on very low energy levels.
Fumes.
We're going to the Final Four next week, obviously.
We are?
Yeah, we are. Did you know that?
No.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going.
Holy shit.
What is the best Final Four location?
Oh, come on.
New Orleans.
Okay, I didn't know if that was. I didn't know it was.
You know what will be?
Yeah,
Vegas.
that's
Couple of years.
New Orleans.
Poor Dauster.
New Orleans.
Dauster's a rookie in Vegas, and he couldn't handle it.
Couldn't
handle it.
I was fine. This one was not my fault. You know this one was not my fault. I can't say why. This one is not my fault.
There's a lot of blood on your hands. That's all I'll say.
It's a legal matter.
Go to toast.
Toast of the night.
We're not doing this again.
We're not doing this again. Not doing this again. Go ahead. It's you, Goodman.
My water.
Toast of the night.
Toast of the night goes to one Dusty May, baby. How can you not? Dusty May and FAU are going to the Final Four. I'm going to toast all those dudes. Again, just incredible, shocking. Like as shocking to me of a Final Four participant as there's been since I've been covering this game.
They're one of the most dominating runs to the tournament I've seen so far in UConn. I mean, they're blitzing people, and they're leaving no doubt. There not a bread trail of crumbs or whatever. They've eaten all the food, and good God Almighty, they are beating the tar out of people. Danny Hurley, those guys, their physicality, they're hitting shots. They figured it out. I don't know who beats them.
You know who you should toast to? You're not going to, but you should toast to Andrea Hurley.
Why?
Because, she's got to deal with Dan for the next week. Think of how nuts he's going to be for the next week.
I think that he's.
Or he's going to be high level.
Can there be another level of nuts?
Right, right.
Can he get?
He's going to be
crazier?
the ups, the downs, the crying. I mean, he was talking to me about it.
Dude, he cried. He's like, I cried 7 times before the game started. Before the game, I'm just so emotional.
He said to me, right,
No,
what he-
this may be being the last time I coach these guys.
I almost had him crying. I had him damn close, and he fought it. He knew what I was trying to do.
Yeah, he goes. I know what you. Actually, it's a rep quote that he said to Goodman. I know you're trying to make me cry. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to talk about something else.
It was really good.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn it.
All right, go ahead.
Then he said that he was drinking a bunch of tequila. So my toast is going to go out to Dan Hurley and the UConn Huskies. Andre fucking Jackson,
the
baby.
UConn Huskies. Is that what he's called?
I'm tired, man. I'm
The
listening.
Huskies.
I messed
all
up
over the
earlier.
place.
That's all right.
Congrats.
I'm listening all over the place. Andre fucking Jackson. Field of 68 after dark.
See you tomorrow.